Okay, we're on.
Am I audible? Do I sound like you can hear me clearly?
Why can't you see me?
I can't see you too well, but I can hear you.
Wave your hand. Yes, I see you move. I see you move. It worked. Nobody moved. Nobody moved from wherever they are. Everybody, all of you are in the right place.
This is take 6 of Stories with Shastri, and we have VIRAF Patel coming on today. VIRAF went from being an electrical engineer to a person in the merchant navy to. Oops, that was bad. We can't make that happen, I guess. Sorry. He went from someone who was in the merchant navy and someone who enlisted for the Mr. India and won. He went on to work with Yash Raj, with BBC India, with Ekta Kapoor, Mahesh Bhatt, Bijoy Nambiar, and I'm just going to add him on right now. Hi,
Hi, Sangha.
how are you?
Very well. Cheers. This is my first live with you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. How have you been? What
Yeah,
have you been up
we can't be checking out other people's live conversations while we are on a live, right?
to?
Yeah,
No,
we can't do that. Okay.
no. So what have you been up to?
Having lots of chai. This is my cup from Turkey. It's one of my prized possessions as memorabilia when I came back from Turkey. And it's a beautiful cup, and I really enjoy my chai. I'm a Parsi Babaji who loves his Parsi chai. And you must know that we Parsis don't make any chai. We make the lemongrass and mint chai. Have you ever had Parsi chai?
I've had the lemongrass. I've had chai with lemongrass in it, so I know what you mean. I
It's
really
got if you. I urge you to try mint and lemongrass in your chai and see what
right
happens.
now I'm doing peppermint because that calms my nerves in general.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's a ritual I have before every live video. I'll make the phone call to the person. I'll be brewing my tea, and then I'll come and sit down and breathe for a little bit. So that's how it works.
That's your Parsi chai for you. Where's your peppermint tea? Is it there? Where you done?
Yeah, no, I just got it.
Someone's asking me, how did you prepare to play Ashish in Namkaran? Wow, very
We get
technical, technical question. Thank you for that question, though. Uh, hi. Gosh, we have, and I like what you're wearing. Is this a turquoise pendant that is hanging on your neck?
Yeah, I don't know if it's turquoise. It's a gift my friend gave me for my birthday, and I really like it. It glows in the dark, so I'm very excited about it in general.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so how did
so
this whole live thing happen?
so everybody was going live, and I was sitting at home, and I told my friend, I want to go live, but I don't know what I could bring to the table. And he said, "Hey, why don't you, interview people, talk to them,
Hmm.
and get stories?" Because somehow, apparently, the verdict is that I can let people to talk, and
Really?
I don't know if it comes from mom or from anything else, but
Yeah, mom just logged in. I saw Padmaja joining in. Hi, Padmaja.
yeah,
Please
she's
carry
in
on.
the other room.
Yeah.
So So that's what happened, and you're the sixth person I'm interviewing. I have a bunch of people I've asked to come onto this, and I'm quite excited about how it's going to go.
Okay. Let's see what stories you get out of me. Ha ha ha.
Okay, let's see.
Let's just see.
Okay.
Padmaja, let's see. I'm going to throw this challenge to Padmaja. Okay, Sangha.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I
Okay.
like how your hair is looking, and I like how you're carrying. Is this your natural curl, or this is after 5 hours of
That's
blow drying hair?
it got curly. I don't know
It's
how.
naturally like that.
It just became curly on its own. So I have no idea
Wow.
how it became like that.
You're gifted.
I
You're
don't know.
gifted.
So
Okay.
okay, so tell me something. What made you go from the merchant navy, from electrical engineering to merchant navy to Mr. India?
Okay. So first question, let's talk about the electrical engineering
Yeah,
to merchant navy.
yeah.
Um, I grew up in middle class Pune Parsi household, in camp, and I used to DJ when I was 18,
Yeah.
and as a DJ, I was exposed to a lot of opulence and affluence, and I somehow associated being rich uh, with being successful. I can't help it, you come from a middle class home. When you associate wealth with money, wealth with success, you start wanting to do things that give you wealth. So I started finding my brother, who was already in the merchant navy, him very aspirational. Yeah, yeah. Every time he would come back, he would have cooler gadgets on him, and he would have a cool gift for me, and he would be far more confident because he was finding his own financial independence at that point in time. And I was like, yeah, this merchant navy seems like a good way out of these things. So that's how I got interested in merchant navy. Then what happened is that I had the time to make a choice after my 12th standard science, and my brother said that, you know what, you can always do merchant navy, get yourself a degree. And that's when I went in for the electrical engineering. And, I was not happy doing electrical engineering because I wanted mechanical engineering. And I thought, like, after 1 year, you can do a branch change. I don't know if the rules are like that now as well. But back then, you could do a branch change after doing 1 year of your first year. And after first year, I was denied the branch change because either I had to pay lots of money to the institute or something like that, a backhanded way, or you know, or or just quit. And then I thought to myself, hey, listen, should I pursue 3 more years of electrical engineering or just join the merchant navy? Because after 3 years in the merchant navy, I would be drawing as much as an engineer draws after
Yeah.
after he passes out or something like that. So I decided to go with instant gratification. Go to the merchant navy, make lots of money. And I said, let me go to the merchant navy. So I did 3 months of pre-sea training, went to the merchant navy. And I remember it felt really good. It turned out to be my graduation of sorts, because I spent about 5 years in the merchant navy. And I joined when I was about 19, 20. I quit when I was 24. So a good 4 years over there, 5 years over there. And it's, it's about 2004. When I was in merchant navy, after spending 4-5 years in merchant navy, you realize that, okay, because you travel, you start realizing that, okay, the world is a very big place, and earning 1 lakh rupees or 50,000 bucks is good money, but there are people who are far more richer. Because when I was 19, the person I could just look up to furthest was the captain. I was like, wow, the captain makes 5 lakhs. Fuck, that's a big deal. So when I joined the ship, I realized that above the captain there is a superintendent who makes 10 lakhs. Above the superintendent there is somebody who makes 20 lakhs and 30 lakhs, and there's a ship. So your worldview changes typically based on how much who earns, just by the awareness of that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, this is infinite, and I think this I shouldn't be trying to chase this. And luckily, shipping went into a depression of sorts, like a downturn, an economic slowdown, and it is cyclic, right? So while I was sitting home waiting for my turn to get a ship, my brother Minocha, he popped this Mr. India call for enquiries at me, in front of me, and he's like, you shot these portfolio pictures and all that. Why don't you go and apply? And that's how I applied. And then I got into Mr. India and got selected. And here's the interesting bit, and that's where I bring in my learnings of destiny or uncertainty. I got selected for Mr. India for the first time in 2004. And while I was waiting for my ship, right, because it was a recession and I was not getting a call to go for a ship. And I got that call for the ship and going for Mr. India at the same time.
Oh, wow. At the same time,
So I had
one call and you're getting the other call at the same time?
Yeah, so I got this message that, okay, you're selected for Mr. India, please come. I've got this letter, okay. And then the company calls me and says, okay, you're going to the ship next month or in next some 2-3 weeks or something like that. And I'm like, but if I go for the ship, I can't go for Mr. India. And I wanted to take the ship because it would help me finish my sea time, like how pilots have flying time, shipping people have. I'll tell you, Ankita, I saw your question. What do you do in the lockdown days? I'll tell you everything. One second, let me finish this one. So, yeah, I chose to go for the ship, finish my sea time of 36 months that was required. And then I came back and I applied to Mr. India again. And that's when I won. And that's when I won in 2005. Because I had finished my sea time. And it was like a backup thing that, in case I don't win Mr. India, I can always go back to sea. And I finished my sea time, so I'll give my exams and I'll go back in the next rank. So that was the long answer of a very short question.
No, that works. See, I got a story out of it. So I wanted to understand. You went on to model for a while after that, right?
Yeah, that was pretty much the set template for somebody trying to make inroads into the entertainment industry, because I remember being fairly influenced by the stories of Dino Moria and John Abram.
Yeah.
Because they were the so-called outsider icons of that time, and it was assumed that you got to, the way you could get into acting is that you do a little bit of modeling, you do some sort of a music video, and then you get into a movie, and then you become an actor, and then you hopefully have a good career. And so I created this sort of a mental checklist that, you need to do a campaign, check. You need to do a music video, check. You need to walk for Fashion Week, check. You need to do, it was like this set thing that I would pick up from, create it for myself. However, anybody who asked me today, I said, screw all these templates, just go ahead and learn, go after what you wanted. So
you end up making music videos. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I did one with Ahmed Khan. It was this, and then I did one with Shan. Yeah. So I look at both those music videos, which are now almost like 15, 14 years old, and I cringe. I was like, what was I thinking? But but that's how life is. So I did those music videos. I did work for the fashion weeks, and I did the modelings, and I wanted to see myself on a billboard. And I remember the first time I was ever on a billboard was where I saw myself on a billboard was at Breach Candy, and it was thanks to Pantaloon. And you all have those moments that you go and take a picture with the billboard. Hey, that's me, kind of picture. So yeah, so that also happened. So that happened with the modeling, and and concurrently while I was modeling, I was sort of indulging in one acting course or another. कोई ना कोई acting courses कर रहा था. Anju Nani is 24 is asking, Parvez is your nephew, right? Yeah, he is my nephew. Sorry, we just randomly spotted my nephew's name over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's friends with my friends too, and I don't know. There's a book. We'll talk about them.
Okay.
So, what was your first show as a model like? Walk me through that.
You mean a ramp show, right?
I was
walking for a ramp show. My first ever fashion show happened in Pune, which for some Parsi event, and strangely, for whatever forces may have been, they made me lift Wabi's Dorabji in the fashion show at Head Ramp. And I just discovered a photo of that very recently. I should send Wabi's and embarrass her also. But that was around when it was over 18 years back or something like that. Then there was but I do remember, I can't recall, what my first show in Bombay was. It's very difficult to remember. I'm sorry, I don't have that info. But I always remember the backstage jitters.
Yeah.
A model fails before you hit the ramp, and it's like an adrenaline rush,
Yeah.
and it's actually such a interesting study in human behavior because the adrenaline rush is happening just because people are going to get out there and scrutinize you and the clothes, perhaps scrutinize you more than the clothes on you. So that's a big feeling that remains with me from my shows.
Okay. And what about how did you get yourself to be comfortable in front of the camera for stills or for motion? Because I know a lot
So,
of people have difficulty with that.
uh, Sangha, I think I would say that having a confidence, some sort of a confidence helps you face the camera. And being the younger brother of a motivational speaker, somehow I had seemed to he had infused very good amount of confidence in me, in terms of being able to face the is that Shakir? Shakir is on here. Hi Shakir, did you just say I was very good? That's very sweet of you. Shakir, if Shakir is on this chat, hi. Shakir was the guy who taught me how to walk when I joined a sort of a college pageant in Bombay. And he teaches a lot of young students how to walk the ramp today also. So guys who are interested in modeling, please check his institute out. So yeah, coming back to your question that uh, what the hell was it like facing the camera, right? That was the question.
What is it like
Yeah,
to get yourself to be comfortable?
it's a process. In fact, I still you use your confidence in the beginning, and then you have it challenged as an actor, and then keep working on yourself and become a little more and more comfortable, not just in front of the camera, but just in front of people as well, or on stage or stuff like that. That's a very interesting process for anyone, I would say. And some people are gifted. Some people are very gifted with being comfortable in front of the camera. And the kind of people we say, "Oh, the camera loves you," and
Yeah.
and then there are also those traps that that this particular angle of mine looks very good for the camera, so I always look like this. And
Yeah.
which is something, people have that comfort uh,
I've
preferences
had
as
that.
well. You
I've
have
had
that. What
that.
do you think? What's your comfort? What's your strong suit camera pose?
It's literally just staring at it and not having anything else. Like I'll just go.
Okay, it's not pouting like
No,
luscious
no
lips
puffing.
pout
No puffing
like
also. I'm
that.
literally just, and that's it. Because there are a lot of
Other-
times I see if I smile, there are certain, I don't know, there's certain ways I smile. I think I don't know what it is. I don't like being. I'd rather be behind the camera. I'm
Is
just
it?
comfortable being. Yeah, I love photographing people. I can't be in front of it at all, ever.
Yeah, I think that's why actors also get a lot of due that they get, because being able to put yourself up for scrutiny in a way an actor does is it can be very challenging, because eventually end of the day we are all having ourselves scrutinized in the world. Like if you're a director, if you're making a film, your worldview is going to show in the film, right? Your intellectual ability is going to show on the film. If you're a writer, the kind of stuff you put out into the world is going to reflect on your worldview and stuff. But when you're an actor, the kind of work you do and is also getting scrutinized. The kind of body type you are, your physical attributes are scrutinized. Your aging process is scrutinized. Your every physical attribute, and you've got to be able to deal with that and put up a brave front and deal with the challenge which go on behind the scenes as well. So I think that's why acting can get very challenging in that framework.
What was it like on your first acting set? This was Mahi Way, I'm assuming.
I'll let you in on an interesting secret that Mahi Way was not my first acting project. I did this movie called Mummy Ji in 2007, 2006 and 2007. And it was this film with Kiran Kher, and I had to play her son. And we shot that movie. The movie ran into trouble because of some, typical issues between the director, writer, producer, and whatever challenges were happening on the back end. But somehow I saw the preview of the movie after it was made. It found its release in 2011. It's also a funny story, I'll tell you. It found but when I saw the preview, I sank in my seat like this. I was like, I'm so terrible in this film. What have I done? I'm so bad. And I think because of that humiliation I felt in the preview, I went and sucked up to possibly every acting course in Bombay. I was like, I can't be this bad. I can't be this bad. So I went and I did pretty much all the acting courses out there, except Anupam. I can tell you which are the acting courses I haven't done. Like, I haven't been to Anupam Kher's acting school, I haven't been to FTII, and there is a very popular Nadira Babbar in I think Bombay. Yeah, apart from these two, three, four, I have done everything. Barry John se leke Atul Mongia and all of those.
So, what was it like on the when you went on to Mahi Way and you eventually got a little cooler? Because I remember at that point when Mahi Way came out, I remember watching all the episodes and going like, "Oh, I know that
Ah,
person,"
all
and
right, yeah, yeah.
I know him, and all of that. But
Wow.
what was it like for you? As once it was out there for people to watch.
You know, when
Hi, sorry.
hey, welcome back.
It was so bad. Sorry. So you
Oh my
were telling
God,
me about,
Nonita Kalra has just joined us. Hi, Nonita. Nonita Kalra is one of the prettiest ladies I've ever met in Bombay, and she's so, so sweet, and she'll make you feel so welcome, and she's so intelligent as well. One of the very interesting people in the fashion business. She's been the editor of the Harper's, I think, have I got the Bazaar magazine? Anyway, we were talking about
Mahi Way.
my way. But there is something very interesting when I see on this live chat the kind of names people have. Somebody
Yeah.
has the name called Feel of the Day. Okay, Preeti Bhattu, Ayushi is very okay. That's probably your name. Shiva Shruti joined. Arish Bhatina joined. Hi, Arish.
Hi,
And
Arish. Arish is a friend.
oh yeah, yeah. Arish, I know. I Ujjwala joined. I get fascinated by people's handles name. Yours is so boring. Sanghamitra Shastri. There's Ankita has joined. Ohana
Yeah,
Love
but
has joined. I'm sure
I
she's a
have
fan of.
I have another secret account, so that's the fun one.
Oh, you have a secret account. What is it? The name handle of
That's
the secret account. Shreyu Parekh just joined in. What's up,
no,
Shreyu?
I will send it to you separately.
Oh, you'll
It's
send
not
it to me
meant to be put
separately.
up. Yeah,
Is that the account you use? Asdeen has also joined in. Hi, Asdeen. Welcome, welcome to a Parsi Bawaji chat.
yeah.
Ankita Purko, MJI Dhakkan 65. That can't be your name. No, I've got it wrong. Ayad Ahmad has just joined in. All right, so we were talking about Mahi Way, weren't we?
Yes.
Mahi Way was just me not thinking too much. It was like a great break because I was getting to work with the whole Yashraj mechanism. And because
Yeah.
it was Yashraj, I think a whole lot of interesting technicians got into the mix. And I got a chance to work with Nupur. And we were very fortunate that Mahi was just beautifully written material. I think it's
Yeah.
great
It
fortune
was.
to even be part of well-written material as actors. Because when you're
Yeah.
setting out, you really can't make a lot of choices, right? When you're starting out. now that I'm into it for the last 10 years, I feel you still can't make choices. But
Yeah.
when you're starting out, I think you can make very few choices. And hence I call it my good fortune that Devika and Ankita, they wrote such a beautiful series, and we got to be a part of it. Ashwini Kaul has also joined in. Hi, Ashwini. So yeah, man, totally lucked out on the fact that getting to work with this fantastic team of writers and director. And I think what happened to me with Mahive is when Mahive went on air, my Facebook exploded.
Yeah, it did.
And that was me also coming to terms with my social media habits. Suddenly, there was
Yeah.
too much attention for me on Facebook. And
Yeah, also Twitter, I remember.
well,
Because I remember,
yes, Twitter, not so much so Twitter, because Twitter hadn't gone crazy for me in that time,
yeah,
because Twitter was still the place for people who would watch uh, other kind of shows, House of Cards and stuff like that. And how
yeah,
it was not for people who watched something on TV. Very few people who
yeah,
would be really surprised about My Way would watch me on TV. And I remember there was this one journalist. So here's the thing: Mahime went on air, and after that, the producer decided to launch Mummy Ji in the theaters. And in fact, one of the journalists who used to be fond of Mahive, she even wrote in the review of Mummy Ji, that what is Viraf Patel doing in that film? And I was like, and she said that with that Viraf Patel, who was so nice in Mahive, I don't know what he's doing in this film. And I was like, how can I go and explain to her that there were the
that
sins
it was
of the
just
past?
timing.
It
Yeah.
was just time. But yeah, that's how life is, people. You can't give a chance to explain everything, can you? So yeah.
So, what are you like when it comes to dealing with failure?
I think I've been very good at the fact that if you've been sane and you can make coherent conversation with anybody after being an actor for 10 years in Bombay, you are very good at dealing with failing. Because people will. So, what do I have to show for myself in the past 10 years, right? I have like 4, 5 shows, I have a whole lot of ads. Yeah, there will be like 10, 20 ads. There would be a couple of digital shows, and there'll be like some 4, 5 television shows, whatever. What do I have to show for myself? So people will just try to see if when they try to evaluate me as a public persona, actor, figure, they will see those 10 projects, right? Really? And to get those 10 projects, they don't see the 1,000 auditions or the 10,000 times one may have gone and given it a go. So that's your silent strength that you have to deal with, right?
And do you think it also helps you shape or change how you act based on the fact that you have dealt with that kind of failure?
Well, actually, dealing with failure can come in the way of being a good actor. I learned this that to deal with failure is associated with uh, strength, right?
Yeah.
And you realize that sometimes you become a stiffer actor if you become too battle hardened and stop being vulnerable. So it's a constant
Yeah.
dichotomy. So what do you somebody's asking me what is your next TV show? I'll tell you what my next TV show is. It's called
We're
Corona
getting
ke
to
baad
that.
kya hoga. Nobody else. Ankita, I'm
We'll
sorry to
get to
make it
that. We'll
fun.
get to that.
That was a very fun question, I must say. Like I would love to know what is my next TV show. I just want to know when are we getting out of here. So yeah, that's what I've recognized for myself, Sangha. Is it too esoteric a concept I'm trying to share? But do you understand that
I do. I don't think it's too esoteric. I think it's very rational in some sense also because as a consumer, I see actors as people who are ideally supposed to be malleable. So if they're too stiff because of something, it doesn't show. But that is only my opinion, and I think everybody's
Yeah,
opinion is very different. But okay, so coming
yeah,
back to
yeah,
Mahive,
yeah.
one thing I would really like to point out is that the writing was so good that it makes sense even today. It is relevant even today,
Right.
which is
Indeed.
something great. So when did you find out that it was streaming on Netflix, and what was it like?
Oh, when did we find out that it's streaming on Netflix? I think it was 2016 or 17 that we found out that it was streaming in Netflix. And now it's not available on Netflix, but within those 3 years of being on Netflix, say between 2017 to 2020,
Hmm.
I think Mahive found its bigger audience. It's
Yeah,
because, in fact, if you go back to the little bit, rewind to 2008 or nine, let's go back in history. Aditya Chopra decided that he wanted to change the face of Indian television by
yeah,
contributing 8 fantastic shows, which were season based. And it was
yeah,
almost like, why should that happen only in the West?
yeah.
I'm going to pause this conversation right here because I'm having anxiety about my phone battery disconnecting again.
Okay.
So I am going to connect a charger. And now that I cannot use my headphones because my phone allows me only to connect. Let's see.
I think you paused. Okay, now I can hear you.
We're in. We're in.
Yes, yes. Okay, you were telling me about Aditya Chopra and the shows that were meant to be season based. And I keep dropping my phone. I don't know because my phone is charging right now.
Is
And
it? Is it?
yeah, it is so bad.
Why is that
I'm
happening?
sorry.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's a nice colored cup.
Yeah, this was made, it has my name on it. So someone painted this for me and gifted it to me. So I really like it. And I don't know where you are again. Okay. Okay, so you were telling me about 2008 and 2009.
So Aditya Chopra decided to contribute what do you say, um, recession, the first economic downturn that we remember from
Yeah,
our lives happened, which is around
yeah,
2008. So those 8 shows became 4. And he had obviously put in a very interesting mix of people to write those shows.
yeah,
And they were all 26 episode limited series, right? And
yeah.
I'm sure he must have had some sort of a broad based plan that, okay, if these shows do well, I'll make a next season and blah, blah, blah. So those post the recession, they decided to make go ahead only with the 4 shows, and Mahive was one of them. And effectively, what this tells us is that Aditya Chopra tried to do what the entire web web series phenomena is trying to do today in India.
Yeah,
With the Indian web series. So he did that 10 years back, and
yeah.
which is so he made it with those principles and ethics of storytelling, and hence it was just great written material, and it is still relevant today.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I see a lot of people who know more about the show because of it being on Netflix than they did back when it actually aired.
Yeah,
And it is very nice to know that people are still relating to it, or they can find a piece of themselves in it, which is essentially what one would look at.
exactly, and it's kind of it's that's the good part about digital, right? That it gives your material so much more shelf life.
Yeah,
So that's the cool part of the streaming media, right? You can go and find a movie or a show from any time and watch it anywhere. And
yeah.
I think that's the great part about the streaming media. which we should be celebrating, right?
I think so too. What was the most toughest scene for you to act out, and why was it the toughest?
I recently I had to do. You want a polite answer? You want a spicy answer?
Give me whichever one you want.
I'll give you the spicy answer. So
Okay, done.
the love making scene with Ellie for Verdict
Yeah.
turned out to be the strangest scene I've done in a long time.
Why?
Because of the nudity that was involved, and it was the first time I had gone to that extent of love making, full
Yeah.
disclosure space,
Yeah.
and also seeing how Ellie was dealing with it, and
Hmm.
how she was also going about it. I think it was the strangest one so far because of perhaps you could do it as something very initial in your career and just get done with it, but after
Yeah.
having spent so much time and then you do it, it felt a little strange. It felt very, very unlike anything that you see on television or this celluloid screen. It's because that person just becomes what do you say? You stop having any kind of feeling what you are actually trying to portray. So it's very
Right.
different. You can't do method acting in lovemaking, I think. It's very difficult.
I wonder how that would work. But coming to Verdict, I actually wanted to ask you, how conflicted do you feel when you're playing someone who is non-fictional, since you've already done that? And because Prem Ahuja was someone who was very much alive, someone who people knew, and also because of how the Nanavati the case took on, how did you feel conflicted at all playing someone who was actually around and not someone who was a part of a writer's imagination?
Uh, I mean, to help me understand the question better, why would you think I would feel conflicted?
I would think maybe because you're already playing a person who already has a set character trait, which you could probably tell from any written media. I'm not talking about just Prem Ahuja, but it could be anyone non-fictional. So my question is more about how do you work with trying to make sure that a lot of you does not come into that character?
Actually, there was no way to do that because there was very there was a call coming in. Can you hear me now? Am I back on?
Yes, 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 you are.
So there's very little material on Prem Ahuja that we had in terms
Yeah.
of research. All we had is a few books that have been written about them and the case, and a photograph. And none of
Yeah.
those books gave any kind of portrayal or mannerisms or something like that. Apart from the fact that he was a very courteous man, that he was a very kind man, and he had a way with the ladies, and because he was a man of great taste, and so he was a great conversationalist, and he had the taste for the finer things in life, blah blah blah. Now these are all sentences which look good in books, and that triggers the reader's imagination of how he is. So that
Yeah.
was the only route available for me, that I had these character traits. All I had to do was try and bring myself to an interpretation of those words. So you can't mimic him, but I had to interpret him. Because there is, for example, if someone had to play Gandhiji, there is so much material on Gandhiji. You know how Gandhiji looks. There's so much video material on Gandhiji, on how he
Yeah.
dressed, how he
How he
spoke, what
walked.
was his accent. Did he have a
Yeah.
lisp? Did he have a paragraph? So there was no kind of material like that for Prem Ahuja. So we had to go. I don't know if Prem Ahuja wore reading glasses. There's no photograph of him with glasses, but I don't know if he's got reading glasses. So I had to imagine all those things and sort of give him a behavioral template which would suit the story and do the story some justice. That he is a charming man, but he's not an asshole. He's not a jerk. So,
Yeah.
so when he's interacting with Sylvia, he has to put on his charm and flirt mode on because
Yeah.
that's who he probably may have been. But at the same time, he will be a gentleman and he won't make her uncomfortable.
Right.
So that was my interpretation of him, and that's based. And thankfully, that was an interpretation called for from the writing as well. Which is why my director let me do it. I think.
Right. And what did you find? What do you usually find yourself doing in between takes? So in between two takes, you have like a break, I assume. So what do you find yourself doing in that short period?
Uh, it really depends what sort of role I'm playing. If it's a very internalized, consuming, intense role or an intense scene going on, then I like to isolate myself and just sit by myself and just remain with my breathing. Uh, just just remain to the in that space which we have caused ourselves to go to achieve that character psychologically. But if
Yeah.
it's a light-hearted scene, then you can be a little more social. You may want to check your phone, talk to your co-actor, or you know, do normal people things. But if you are doing a very intense scene and you're working very hard to get in there psychologically or suit that scene, then you could be doing something like putting yourself in a room, staying with the music of the scene, or staying with the voices of the scene in your head, or just staying there, protecting that fire that you've caused within yourself for that scene.
And so tell me something. When did you figure out that you were meant to be in front of the camera? Or are you still questioning something like that?
Hey, I don't have this belief system about myself that I'm meant to be in front of the camera. But I don't think like that. Over the years, what I have sort of understood that I'm really fascinated and bewildered and enchanted by the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
So effectively, I would like to say I'm a bhakt of storytelling. Now, my initiation into storytelling may have happened through modeling and acting, but I am a huge admirer of storytelling at large. So I don't know 5 years later what I may be doing, whether it's in front of the camera or back of the camera. As long as I am devoted to storytelling, I'd be a happy camper.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or have I
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so ऐसा कुछ moment predefined moment नहीं था कि यार मैं तो कैमरा के सामने करूँ. Actually, I decided to do Mr. India and all that modeling and all just going by a certain template, right? Like if you do this, then you open these opportunities for you, etc., etc. Because that's all I knew. We didn't know any better.
Yeah. And what do you think? What would you tell your 18-year-old self right now?
Nothing. I think that's like the worst thing to do to your 18-year-old self. It's like,
That's a great answer.
yeah. So I think retrospect is a bitch and who you should not take too seriously. So that's like whipping yourself. Okay. Oh, but if I were to meet an 18-year-old, like I'll tell you this scenario. There was a 18 or 20-year-old boy who used to live in my building, and one fine day, 3 a.m., I get a call. I know him because he is the son of a friend of mine, and he might. It's assumed that he's someone known to me, so I'm going to be a little watchful for him and watch out for him in whichever way I can. And one day I get a 3 a.m. call and he's sounding a little disoriented. And I said, "Can I just come and meet you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Maybe
Hmm.
he has some teenage problems or what, 20-year-old problems. I banged a car. I don't know what to do. I had a fight. I don't know. I have some people chasing me." And I was gearing up for some crisis like that, which I was gearing up to help him with. But no, he turns around and he tells me, "Listen, I have the hots for you," and I didn't know how to tell you. So I got drunk tonight. So I finally mustered the courage to tell you that I think you're beautiful, and I just wanted to tell you that I'm attracted to you. And I was like, wow, if I had the courage you had at 20, I said, listen, just ignore the part that I'm straight and I may not be sexually oriented as you. But I think I must applaud the fact that you, as a 20-year-old, have the courage to walk up to someone and say, listen, I am attracted to you. And
Yeah.
that I think is what I would tell any 18, 20-year-old is that the ability to go out there and have the gumption to go out and get what you want is a great asset to have. And if there's anything stopping you from doing that, don't let it.
And have you ever, with whatever you've taken up, have you ever doubted yourself? And if you have, how does one overcome that? Something like that. Like doubted your abilities more than yourself.
I, Sangha, to be honest, I doubt myself even today. There's no magic bullet that once you tell yourself this or once you achieve this, that self-doubt goes out of the window. And I'm pretty glad it doesn't work that way, at least for me, because I realize that there is a there's a certain amount of self-doubt that is required to provoke you towards growth. So I'm not able to articulate this with a very romantic line, but I'm
Right.
essentially just trying to tell you that I don't want to reach a place where I have no self-doubt, because once that happens, then I think the anxiousness and eagerness to grow will go.
Yeah. I agree. I do. I definitely agree.
So I think one would just like to keep self-doubt at bay, perhaps, or in check of some sort, as long as you don't become a victim of your own self-doubting patterns, if you have any. So
Yeah.
that's what I watch out for. I don't watch out for the fact that, hey, don't have any self-doubt. No, I don't tell. I wouldn't prophesize that.
And okay, so since you've tapped into television, short films, music videos, ads, feature films, and OTT platforms, uh, which one did you see coming? Which platform did you see coming to you naturally as an actor, and which one did you think was the most challenging? Because I'm only asking this assuming that you've kept a particular audience in mind.
Which is the more challenging medium? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking me?
Yes, and which one came more naturally to you?
See. Listen, I've done stage, I've done web, worked in a film with Bijoy, a couple of films. I've done a couple of web shows, yeah, a couple of TV shows. And after having this sort of experience, I wouldn't say any particular medium came more naturally to me. But however, I would say television was very demanding. It's a very demanding medium because you got to make content for what 16 hours a day, man. I mean, you got to deliver an episode every day. So if you're doing a daily soap, that's very challenging. In terms of the physical input that is required. Having said that, one wouldn't want to invalidate the challenges that go into web and film because they're very similar. But the schedules of television are very exhausting, physically exhausting.
Right. And have you been able to find that kind of a work-life balance so that that exhaustion doesn't get to you?
Are you asking me if I figured it, or are you?
Yeah, yeah. Have you figured it out? That's actually my question.
I don't know. I don't know. And I trust my girlfriend to always point it out to me that whenever I've gone, what do you say, overboard, I trust her to
Hmm.
pull me in check. But I wouldn't say that I'm a champ at keeping a work-life balance. I tend to get lost in what I'm doing and exhaust myself, and it actually takes a lot from me to say, okay, stop, go watch a film, or go and meet your friends or something like that.
So you're working on something that is about a documentary about daughters of sex workers, and
Yes,
you're making it, right? So
yes, yes.
what made you start, and what's it like? When are we going to see it?
Oh, that's $1 million question. It's a work in progress since about, say, 6 years now, Sangha. And
Hmm.
I've been documenting them in bits and pieces since 6 years. And I, uh, as I'm putting it together, I'm finding new discoveries and potentialities in the story. So I have something in my head, and it's also, I would say, I wouldn't be all Mr. Know-all. I would also say that my education, which is going on parallelly while I'm discovering the project and working on the project, is also showing in the film. So, the more you learn, the more you want to fix what you've done. So that
Yeah,
also keeps on happening as a cycle. So yeah, that's the funny part. But it's one of the most interesting things I've done and a very satisfying process. I hope I hope the audiences get to see it very soon.
I hope to see it very soon too. Would you
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
be a filmmaker or an actor? Tell me that.
You know, I would like to be both. Like I love when I love the profiles of both, and that would be the greediest answer. I
Well,
would
it
like
works.
to, yeah, and there are examples of that, right? So,
Yeah, I think they are. So someone's asking, how is it working with Shilpa Anand in Teri
oh,
Meri Love Stories?
Shilpa is a sweetheart, and she's so you would expect Shilpa to be very chalu and layered and all that, but actually Shilpa is really what you see is what you get. But at the same time, she's a very intelligent girl, so that's what I make of Shilpa, and I hope she's fine. And I haven't spoken to her in the lockdown. I wonder where she is and how she's coping. And I know she's mad about her dog, her pet.
Hmm.
So it's a good. I'm going to use that as a cue to check on Shilpa.
Yeah, I think you should. So what do you see as something that's next that comes after documentary filmmaking? Are you going to
For
try something
myself,
new for yourself? It doesn't necessarily have to be work.
like I said, I'm pursuing writing a script for myself, like in the sense, like I'm trying to write a feature film, and I have no clue how that's going to turn out. I'm sort of right now in the lockdown. I'm pursuing screenwriting classes because I feel that is a very productive thing I can do. Sitting at home, I can't really act too much apart from scaring my neighbors away. But I think okay, I can at least try and learn some screenwriting. So I try to do that. And there's this
How's it
lovely
going?
group. It's
Sorry.
brilliant. It's the most beautiful part of the day because uh, there's this group that we're 60 of us now, and we sort of dive into it for about a couple of hours, and that keeps us sort of extremely energized psychologically for the next 2 3 hours, and by that time the day is over. So yeah,
And
that's
what Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's something that one is using to cope with the lockdown as well.
And what's a day in your life like? What was it like before the lockdown? What is it like now? And what do you hope it will be like when it's done?
Okay, here's the funny answer. If an actor is not working, he's not on set, his life is like a lockdown only. So I think most actors are used to being locked down. I don't think they will complain because we spend a lot of time at home, right? When we are not shooting, and you want
Yeah.
to spend time at home, or or maybe at travel or something like that. But a typical day when, let's say, if I'm shooting or and I'm not shooting. So when I'm shooting, you obviously land up on set and you spend about 12, 13, 14 hours on set and you do what you have to do over there. And by the time you come back home, there's hardly any time to do anything apart from shit, shave, shower, or grab your meals and stuff like that. So that's a shoot day. A non-shoot day is when you probably want to do your meetings and do your other skilling bit. You want to educate yourself on
Yeah.
something, or you want to keep yourself fit. You subscribe to a physical routine. You go and catch up with friends, but a lot of it goes into hustling. A lot of that time goes, I don't know if many people are comfortable acknowledging the fact that you have to spend a lot of time hustling. It's got a cooler word these days. It's called networking, but I love the word hustling because it's just so
Yeah, same.
enterprising.
Yeah,
So,
it is. And I think
so
networking's too broad.
yeah, so I love the word hustling because it's so much more
Yeah.
heroic, like I hustled. So yeah, when we're not acting, we actors are basically hustling. And even social media is a hustle, right? Like we want to do things on
Yeah, it
social
is.
media because that improves our chances.
Yeah, it really does. Do you think the entertainment industry is financially viable for someone who wants to make a career out of it from scratch?
Of course, it can be, but usually what happens is the only thing I would recommend anybody who comes in the entertainment industry is don't think people who have made their careers purely by luck. Because usually when we look at the entertainment industry, we think it's a party of people who lucked out because we only
Yeah.
see their success. We don't see the sleepless nights that have gone before that success. So, for example, if see a movie and you're like, oh, wow, what a movie. Who's that writer? There's a first time writer. Wow. And then you start seeing that writer in newspapers, and the writer does another movie, and the writer becomes more famous. And you're like, wow, this writer wrote that one film, and now they charge so much money, and they're all over the newspaper and all. But we are not witness to how much incubation and education time that writer or the technician or the director or that actor has put in before they got there,
Yeah.
right? So what happens is that you end up coming into a city and you say, okay, I want to make it here. I want to do something in films, or I want to do something in the entertainment industry. But people need to get two things or clarity on two things. Where do you want to fit in? Front of the camera, behind the camera. If it is behind the camera, there are 6 disciplines. You could be dealing with the camera, you could be dealing with direction, you could be dealing with production, you could be
Yeah.
dealing with art design, you could be dealing with marketing, distribution, you could be dealing with writing. It's storytelling requires about 7, 8 disciplines to function in optimum for the final
Yeah.
product to come out. So you got to find out where you fit in and then skill yourself appropriately for that, because skilling yourself in any particular discipline, one of those 7, 8 disciplines, is also going to take roughly 6 months to 2 years, depending what you're setting out to learn, right? Like,
Yeah.
so by the time people get that clarity, I think they feel disillusioned or something like that. But there's no better way I could have articulated this. But please come
Yeah.
to the entertainment industry. Entertainment is a drug. people will always need drug, and so far it's a drug that is legal, right?
Yeah.
And so while it's not banned, please come and become part of this drug industry. And like religion, as one philosopher said, it is a drug. So uh, come and be part of the industry, please. Just find out where do you want to fit in and pursue your skilling. Because if you want to become a writer, director, producer, or say you want to learn film marketing, identify how you're going to skill yourself. Give yourself that much time. If you want to become an actor, allow yourself the time to be skilled as an actor, and then go and offer yourself to the industry. Don't.
Well, that's
Don't. I think a lot of times people come here unskilled and then hustle. And while hustling, they realize that, oh, I need to skill myself. So they start skilling themselves also. And by that time, it's been about 1.5, 2 years. And they feel, yaar, maine bahut try kiya. But then you you realize that, oh, I just about learned that skill now. And now I go. It's like when anybody asks me, and this is true for anybody, you could be a DOP or a camera person or a production art director. To do any job, you need to learn that skill first, right? You wouldn't let me drive your car as a driver if I didn't know how to drive.
yeah.
So you got to figure out how can I equip myself with that skill, and then give that offering to the business. So yeah, the short answer is yes, of course, it's considered a sunshine industry, and it's supposed to have a lot of growth, and it welcomes minds from everywhere. And I think the most cool thing about the entertainment industry, especially in the creative part, like every industry, it has two aspects, right? Here's the interesting part. And a friend who is a senior HR person in one of these media firms, he helped me understand this more clearly. He's like, see, there is a business side to entertainment, and there is a creative side to the entertainment. Let's put it to simply put, like there's a guy, a director or a producer, they make a movie, right? Then they take it to a studio, and then the studio releases it and markets it. So that's the studio is the business side, and the filmmaking is the creative side. Now, the business side works like a corporate structure, wherein it's like okay, to become the VP of a company, you got to give in about 10 years, or it's when you talk to people who are in management institutes, they all have an idea that to reach a particular rank in a company, you need to give it at least 5 to 7 years. If you want to become a CEO, you need to give it 10, 15, 20 years, unless you're an entrepreneur or something like that, right? But in the creative side, the amazing thing is the suits of our business. They don't care what institute you have been to and who you are, as long as you can deliver the chops. That's, I think, a very cool thing to be encouraged by.
It is. It really is. We have a question. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
please go on. Let's take the question.
No. You were saying you could be?
You could be a college dropout and go on and direct a very good film, and there's no looking back. And the suits will come knocking at your door and say, hey, here's $1 million, please direct our next film.
Yeah. I think it comes with a lot of work also.
Indeed. So the formal schooling bit doesn't really decide where you land up in the entertainment business on the creative front. And that should not be confused with learning. Formal schooling and learning and education are two different things. Your education and learning can happen in many different ways.
Yeah, I agree. We have a question from Miss Shastri. She's asking, do you believe an actor should be a good actor should make a good person? That's what the question is. How important is it for an actor to be a good human being? That's the question.
How important is it for a good actor to be a good human being? I think there is some truth in that question. Maybe she is right. Maybe you to be a very balanced and a rounded actor, you might need to be sensitive. You might need to be emotionally present
Yeah.
to the people around you, and be extremely in touch with your own emotions, and hence be aware of what is happening around you and other people's emotions. So, good actors are like emotional detectors. Like
Yeah.
they can spot anxiety very quickly. They can spot emotions very quickly, especially the subtler ones. So if there's somebody who's sitting in front of me, I can understand from their verbal, non-verbal communication, are they comfortable in the room or not. So I think by the virtue of your schooling as an actor, as a good actor, you end up becoming somebody who is quite watchful and sensitive. And I define good human beings as someone who live and let live. So
Yeah.
I think a good actor inadvertently becomes a kind of person who vouches for live and let live. So yeah, I think there is a connection over there. I've not been able to explain it in the most Shakespearean way, but yeah.
Yeah, but that works. Okay. This was fun, and I am out of all the questions I prepared for you to
Thank you,
get my
Sangha.
stories out.
Can I ask you a shallow question?
Yes,
How
always.
you look so pretty? What is this? Is it Botox? What sort of chemicals are you putting on
I'm
you? Or is
23.
it?
What Botox?
Oh, wait. Botox is age-proof now. You can get it done for
Is
whatever
it?
you'd like, Venom. Yeah, yeah.
No,
And the
no,
lip
no, no,
jobs
no.
and nose jobs. Have you done a lip job, nose job?
No, no, nothing. It's just
Yeah.
glow.
Oh my
It also
God!
sweat.
All thanks
I'm
to Mama.
sweating in the humidity and I'm trying to be cool about it. When the live video paused, I went and, wiped my face.
Oh my God!
But
Oh my God! Oh my God!
yeah,
But
it's just
listen,
glow.
congratulations on your initiative. I
Thank you. I
hope it
want to
really
actually
flies.
take it beyond it. Thank you. Produce it and build a bloody empire out of it.
Oh my God!
Someone just someone just asked, does preparing for certain types of roles or doing multiple roles one after the other affect the mental health of an actor? That's my Rocky brother out there, by the way.
Hey, that's a very good question. Mr. Rakhi brother, I don't know what your name is. Sangha is not telling me.
Shubhankar. That's Shubhankar.
Shubhankar, that's a very good question. Yeah, I would definitely like to say that parts, yes, take a toll on the mental health of an actor, and it is within the mandate of the definition of an actor to let himself go towards his art, but also protect himself from his art.
Yeah.
It's a very
That's
strange
profound.
thing because I don't know how wise it is that you get consumed by your art and then die, and then you're not there to create any more of it. Maybe as a purist, maybe that idea is very romantic. That goes so deep in your art that you can let it burn you. But as actors, I think we are a little more selfish. We let our art break us a little and then find our truth over there and then put ourselves back together and then go to the next bit. Let that art break ourselves a little, heal ourselves and go. We don't let ourselves completely break, because if we completely break, then we give into patterns of addiction, self-harm, and who knows what else.
Yeah. Someone just said, your hair has grown longer than I thought. Please tell him this.
Are they telling that to you or me?
To you. They said, please tell him this.
Yeah, lockdown में क्या करूँ? There is no barber in sight. Yeah, I have to grow my hair.
So Shubhankar asked, can you set up safeties to prevent that?
Of course, Of course, the simple way is to not get, um, know when you are being a character. Like people bring work home, actors bring characters home.
Yeah.
So, there was this time, and it sometimes still happens to me. So, someone talked about Ashish in Namkaran, right? So,
Yeah.
Ashish becomes an alcoholic at some point in the story.
Hmm.
And I don't know what happened to me. I don't drink.
Hmm.
But one day I was talking to my friend on the phone, and he said, "What are you doing while talking to me?" I said, "I'm just making myself a drink." He said, "But you're alone. Why are you drinking?" And I'm like, "I just felt like." So he said, "Okay." Then about 3-4 days later, he called me again, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I just made myself another screwdriver, bro. I like it. I like." He said, "Have you started drinking alone?" And I'm like, yeah, it seems like that. And then I just sort of took a step back, not from the glass. I had that drink, but over the next few days, I said, "Oh, hey, how has this come about?" And I observed that it had to do with my character submitting to alcoholism, and maybe I, as an artist, have to be watchful that I try to bring the patterns of the character into my life, and then I should be watchful if they are negative patterns. Then I should be watchful of them. Yeah. So it's an individual's capacity to recognize what patterns you're bringing in, and keep a check
But
on
have
it.
you ever recognized that before accepting a role or taking
Before
up a role?
accepting a role,
Yeah. And decided not to.
nahi yaar Sangha, honestly, Sachi, when we are so happy when we get a role in the first place. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, काम मिला है, let's do this job, and you're all excited to soak your teeth into the part, and I will do this for the, मैं ये करूंगा मेरे बॉडी के साथ, और मैं ये सीन के साथ ये करूंगा, मैं ऐसे कपड़े पहनूंगा, मैं जब I will bring this into his speech, and when he will stand, he'll always look. You are clouded with all the aspirations of performance, and I think at least I don't create any stoppers for myself. Hey, be watchful, huh? Something like that. No, that's the truth. That's the truth. That's an honest confession.